What was Jesus thinking on the night of the hardest moment of their lives? And why was he more focused on his disciples' survival than his own suffering? Was he tired of repeating himself as he kept reminding them of what was to come? The answer still speaks to us today. Find out in this episode of Becoming Aware, Christ's peace comforts you. One of the hardest things to do as a mother, a teacher, even a children's worker, a counselor, any supervisor is having to repeat important points and tasks over and over again. Even just giving them instructions. It can feel like talking to a zombie at times. Come on, wake up, listen. Giving instructions to kids this day is like training a 2-year-old dog that was supposedly trained as a puppy and yet continues to struggle. You repeat yourself again and again, hoping that something will finally click and you become frustrated or impatient and maybe just tired. A wise teacher learns that every child processes differently. We teach the same truth in different ways so that each student can understand at their own level and even sometimes with their own ways of thinking. And my favorite moment is the one that every teacher lives for. It's when a student finally gets set. Yes, that moment when their eyes shift and their face lights up and it's that awakened moment to a new understanding. Like, pop, I get it now. And they become aware that they now see what the teacher is trying to teach them. They are now aware of the process, the meaning, the concepts, the theme. That moment is priceless. Yes, we all dream. Those of us that work with as teachers, those of us that work with children or teenagers and sometimes adults, we dream for those moments. And that is exactly what Jesus was trying to do with his disciples. He was probably dreaming for that moment. Before we get into this story, please remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to support this ministry. It helps you stay informed about our next episode in the Becoming series, especially as we head into Easter or Resurrection Sunday. And it encourages me to keep writing and creating these videos for you. You can also donate directly through the QR codes shown here and at the end of the episode. Now back to our story. So there are moments on the way to Jerusalem and even at the Last Supper where Jesus is not simply informing the disciples about what is coming. He's trying to awaken their heart, not with drama, obviously, but with clarity for them to understand his purpose. He knows they are not spiritually mature, not enough to comprehend what he's telling them. So he approaches the truth in different ways. He repeats the same message, but presents it differently, hoping they will finally understand. Jesus is helping his disciples see what they have not yet understood and recognized. They are spiritually half asleep. And Jesus knows that whatever's coming, the betrayal, the arrest, the cross will shake them up to their core. And it will be very abruptly. And he wants them to be ready. He knows the weight of what is about to be carried. And he refuses to leave them unaware of what to expect. He wants them to be comforted. He wants them to feel his presence. He wants them to have peace so that they are able to carry through the worst time, because grieving is not easy. And many of us have been there in that grieving moment. And so Jesus understood this. Knowing what he would go through, he did not forget that they would be going through it with him. That is the heart of this episode of Becoming Aware. Becoming aware is waking up to what is true. Even before the storm arrives, Jesus begins gently. I am not always going to be with you, but don't worry, you will not be alone. You must trust me, believe in me. And we find that in John chapter 14. He spends the whole entire conversation in this whole entire chapter explaining in different ways that he will be leaving them and what will happen next. And this was not easy for him. For Jesus understands the pain of losing someone. Through the death of Lazarus, he knows grief. He knows what it feels like to lose a loved one. After all, he had lost his earthly father, Joseph, years earlier. So for Jesus to share this news with his disciples is uncomfortable, emotional, and difficult. And on top of that, the disciples are not ready. They were not ready, not one bit. And in John 16, Jesus again tries to prepare them, to awaken their minds and their heart to what is to come. And as he sits with them, the hour is drawing near, and the cross is approaching, and the betrothed is already in motion, and the weight of what is about to be carried out is pressing on Jesus. And yet, instead of withdrawing into his silence, he continues to speak with tenderness, preparing their hearts for what they cannot yet see. He is more concerned of them and their responses than he is of his pain. So he keeps telling them, do not let your hearts be troubled. He knows trouble is coming, and they will not respond well at all. He knows fear will rise and they will run and deny him. He knows their world will be shaken and they will feel lost and scared and maybe even broken. But he wants them to be aware that none of this is outside of his control. Aware that everything he is about to endure for them. Aware that even though they will feel the loss of his physical presence, they are not losing him forever. He wants them to be aware that though they will react in fear, they cannot live in that fear. He wants them to know they already have the tools they need, for he had been teaching them countlessly for so many days and years, 24 hours a day, that he wanted to remind them that they have the tools and that the helper is coming and they will not be alone. So then Jesus tells them something new this time. For the very first time, he brings one concept to heart, and he tells them that they need to have peace. So he's giving them his peace, and he explains that the peace he gives is different from anything they've ever known. A peace that doesn't crumble under pressure, a peace that doesn't disappear when life gets hard, a peace that holds steady even when everything else is shaking. This is shalom. And what is shalom? Shalom is not just calmness. It is wholeness. It is restoration, well-being, alignment, and inner stability. It is the kind of peace that puts your life back together and strengthens you when your world feels uncertain. Shalom is the peace that comes from God's order, God's presence, and God's promises. It is rooted in your inmost being. And even when chaos swirls around you, you feel Jesus steadying you. This is the peace that Jesus wants them to be aware of. He wants them to know that even when they cannot see him, Jesus offered this amazing peace in the middle of the turmoil that they would be facing. He wants them to face what is to come with courage, not fear. He wants them to know that even when they scatter, even when they struggle, even when they feel lost, and when they deny him, when they do not know what to do, his peace will steady them. Jesus knew they were still new to this, still in the early stages of learning, And he knew that although they had the tools, they still would struggle with clarity and understanding. And that is what he was concerned mostly about. So Jesus wasn't completely concerned about himself as much as he wanted to make sure the disciples would be ready. And so he also knew that they were humans. Uncertainty often leads to fear. And when there's fear, humanity and human beings make a lot of mistakes. So he focused on giving them encouragement. He would not abandon them. He would give them peace. For the disciples to truly become aware of what Jesus was telling them, they had to be at peace with what was to come. The disciples didn't know what was coming. They didn't understand it. They didn't quite comprehend what Jesus was telling them. But Jesus did. And Jesus breathed. And in his pain and in his mourning, he focused more on them. Because he loved them. They didn't understand Jesus' word, but he was patient with them. But when the moment arrived, when everything unfolded just as he said, they finally understood. It took them a while, maybe a lot longer than it ought to. I don't know. But they eventually, it happened. In the middle of grieving, their eyes lit up because they realized that moment of awareness that Jesus had been repeating these things over and over again, and it finally hit them. I would have loved to have been there. And though it was painful, their awareness brought them peace. So comfort becomes permanent when peace is present. And this is why this moment belongs in the becoming journey. We cannot continue to become if we cannot be made aware of his peace. Before you can surrender, you must become aware of it. Before you can receive his promise, you must be aware of his peace, his shalom. This is the journey of becoming. And today, we take that next step. Becoming aware that Jesus will comfort you when things are tough. Becoming comforted. Becoming aware that Jesus gives peace when your world feels like it's falling apart. Be at peace. Remember, you are becoming aware of him and his peace. Shalom. Dios les bendiga. Until next time.